Mr. Olcott, we are back.
Hello, sir. How are you?
We are back. I'm really looking forward to this July edition of the Scroll.
It's summer.
How is summer in Denver treating you?
It's good. It's definitely had its high peak temperatures and stuff, but I gotta tell you, get up in those mountains, everything just cools off, man. It's just so wonderful. So spent the
Yeah.
weekend at martial arts weekend, and it was just so nice, so cool. Definitely got the heat, kind of stuff, but then those cool summers, showers came in and just cooled everything. Ah, I love that.
So envious.
Yeah.
One day, my feet will find the floor in Denver for sure.
Good.
So we're back. This is the July edition. Over the last few months, we've been really journeying around this swords of illumination technology. Today, we're going to take another step further with a new introduction, a new concept. We're going to be revealing how the results that we get in our life and business, they're not chance. They're not chance. They are by design. So if you're listening to this or if you're watching this and the conversation that David and I really resonates with you, this is the type of work that we're doing in our Swords of Illumination group coaching. It started 3 weeks ago. David's taking cohort one. And if you want to be involved in cohort two, make sure you express your interest. Use the link within the show notes. Make sure you contact us here at Samurai Success, and would love to let you know what this path's all about. And yeah, David, let's dive in, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Behavior
Let's do it.
equals results. Let's go.
So, I know we've spoken about this before. I want to take a dramatic pause backwards and just kind of remind us of we've been going along this journey. And this journey is this 30, 35-year process that I've been involved with because I was just really frustrated with life. I was just getting to a place where it's like, it just doesn't make sense the way people had told me, or the way they had told me, and I had chosen to hear it, experience it, whatever. One of those times where you hear something, you hear something, you hear something, and then you hear the same thing again, and it just goes click, and you're like, what happened? Well, I became available, right? So that's what happens. So it's fascinating to watch this idea about behaviors equal results. And this idea that says there are, like in mathematics, the universal language of the universe, there are literally millions, if not billions, of different ways mathematically to get to a very, same answer. Four. How do I get to four? Well, so many different ways to get to four. How do I get to 10? I can get to 10 so many different ways. Yet there is one fast way to do it that has an interesting connection with it always happens this way. So what if I could find behaviors or a behavior that gets me to the result I'm after faster in a more accelerated way consistently? Now, okay, that's a big question, Dave. And now you know why it's taken me 35 years to do it. And you'll probably get it faster than I did. Good for you. But I didn't have any structure. I didn't have any boundaries about where to look for this. And yet they were right in front of me. Started studying successful people. And over again, even though they were strong, independent alphas, sometimes male, female, didn't matter, they kept saying these themes, right? These similar behaviors, similar so much enough that I was like, holy crap, there's is a way to be able to understand this mechanics. And that's where the understanding of your behaviors create your results come from. Now, the masters have been saying this in a much more eloquent way than I'm saying it right today, but they've been saying this for centuries. So this is not new. The structure is going to seem really new because it's like, oh, there's a formula to this,
Mm.
not just this conceptual idea. There's actually practical formula to make this happen.
But just so we're clear, that formula only starts now that I'm aware of it. It hasn't been working for the rest of my entire lifetime. Is that right? There is...
Oh, you're talking about me again?
Oh.
Yes. Yes. So as a human being, you're going to encounter very similar things. That's what makes us so compatible with each other, right? We're having shared experiences of dealing with challenges and conflict and how do we resolve those together. So yes, You and I are experiencing similar things there.
Yeah, does the because when I journey through this conversation with you through my own coaching with you and the source of illumination, there's something that happens when you come face to face with this, oh, shall we say, the significance of, wow, the results I'm getting are downstream from my existing behaviors. And there's something that you have to, well, me personally, I had to sit with that and go, huh, what are these results am I liking and what am I not liking? And then, unfortunately, David's gonna have a conversation with me about what do I want to do with those.
Interestingly enough, the fascinating part about it is it's been in my life forever. I've heard this word over and over again. I know you have. It's called the now.
Mm,
Well, what's so impressive about that? Well, another word for the now is the present.
mm,
Now we start having fun because the present is the gift, right? They always say that present gift. Ooh, there's a double entendre here, right? There's something to wait a minute. Present is also pre-sent. Oh, snap.
mm,
So what you're saying is I'm actually creating my results of the future. I'm pre-sending my results from what my frequency is here. And
mm,
that's what we're suggesting. That's what we're experiencing. That's what we're seeing from this. And to get your brain around that is no small feat. Don't get me wrong. But it's an important aspect of understanding that you are causing so much of the things in your life, whether you like them or you don't. I will tell you that if you could raise your hand if you're a control freak like me, then there's only really two things you get to really control: your thoughts and the meaning you give things. We just
mm.
talked about that last month, the superpower of humans, the meaning we give things. So, as you are built this way, you're sending out this frequency of energy, you're actually attracting things into your life based upon that behavioral frequency and getting control of that, getting an understanding of it, about how you can actually wield that is a powerful aspect of taking it to the next level.
Yeah, it always reminds me of what you've just said about the power of wielding the in the book Swords of Illumination, where every time Yoshi gets the next sword, there's always that phase where he has to become accustomed to the new level, shall we say. And sometimes that phase goes quickly and sometimes that phase takes him a little bit longer than he would like, but this is what brought to life when you said that. But when you sit with this magnificence that, wow, like our behaviors, if we can be conscious enough to choose them, will create different results.
Well
when
said.
when you sit with that, where does your heart and your mind go, David? Where does your imagination go with what's possible with that technology?
Well, it led me to yelling and screaming a lot. And the reason for it is because in the question is really what we've been talking about. If I could consciously create, and you and I both know that it's not your conscious portion of your brain creating these results in your life. It's actually your subconscious part of your brain, which is the opposite of conscious, right? You can be a very conscious being, but your subconscious takes care of a lot of the things you're not even thinking about all day long. So much of the results are typed, pulled into this, tied to it, entangled with it. You're not getting away from this. Okay, stop fighting it, Dave. And let's see if we can approach it a different way. What if I could take and change the programming of my subconscious and pre-send that into the future? Then I can actually create the results I'm after. That's where the I Am Studio is born from, is about understanding the present moment and its gift to you and I. So remember, if you're angry for a moment, right, or a day or 2 days, that's not going to attract, evil into your life kind of stuff. So I want to make sure we get that distinction because that's what I heard. And when I first heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta be good and promising and virtuous and all. Slow down, David. it's the key thing about spending just a certain amount of time in there. If you're angry for a period of time, this is something called the frequency of the frequency. So again, the double entendre of words in the English language, right? Frequency is a vibrational state, energetic state. We're all aware of that. But frequency is also how often you do things. So the frequency of the frequency. How often are you doing anger? How often are you doing love, bliss, joy,
Mm.
and the 34,000 other emotions that are available to you as a human being? Now, the
Mhm.
good news is, of all those, we only use about 6 of them pretty consistently. 5 of them aren't really the ones we want. There's sadness, happiness, depression, surprise, all those other things. But 34,000, we've condensed it down to 6, and most of them aren't really positively charged.
Mm.
I need to expand my emotional intelligence when it comes to that so that I can start setting the frequency of the things I actually want to attract in my life. So if you imagine this conveyor belt metaphor that you and I are going to talk about today, that we're constantly treating the symptoms of things. Like it's at the end of the conveyor belt, and the product's already gotten down to the end of the conveyor belt. The result. You pull that thing off from a quality control management's perspective, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to take a look at this results, and I'm going to do some analysis, and I'm going to do some analytics on it, and I'm not going to change it right now because it's already been produced and manifested. What's causing that to happen way over there? Because that's what caused this here.
Mhm.
Having that connection, that conveyor belt will really help out in our metaphor for today so that we can start looking at these different aspects along the conveyor belt that says, I know the results is happening. I don't care for that result anymore. It doesn't represent who I say I am. That. What are the elements of the conveyor that are creating that thing is this understanding of B equals R. Behaviors create your results.
Yeah, I love that description, that visual. And one of the things that came up to me as you were speaking was this understanding that, yeah, I can absolutely nail some situations. I can deal with it with pure love, right? And then you
Ah,
said the frequency of the frequency. And it's like, oh, maybe that's where self-sabotage comes in.
yes.
Maybe it's not me putting the old stick through the spokes of my front wheel, but it's actually my programming. And so much of this path is about increasing the frequency of the frequency, even seeing that that's progress. But I think what you touched on a minute ago is so much of the world, particularly coaching services, they're built on strategies and behaviors, right?
Hmm.
They're built on strategies and behaviors. If you want a particular result, just do what I did, do what worked for me. What's your perspective on that approach?
Hook, line, and sinker. I bought into that, Ryan. I did
Mm.
because very powerful people I respected were telling me that. And so I bought in. And I will tell you with absolute confidence, it doesn't work. So, why doesn't it work? This conveyor belt thing, you are a truly complex machine. And this beautiful, magnificent mind and brain and body and soul connection you have, so sophisticated, so complex. Yet I know a loving God would not put me here and not give me some level of simplicity because that's okay, big brain, fine, but I've got to be able to chunk that down into something that's understandable. Third grade level is where I like to go. So when you are given a strategy, as a matter of fact, if you read the most powerful negotiating book on the planet, and it was written by a very accomplished negotiator, and they give you every single behavior, which is also known as a strategy, right? You ever
Mm.
hear the word strategy? It's behavior. So this B equals R, right? So it's like, if I do that strategy, I'm going to get that result. It's an equal sign though, Dave. Remember, B equals R. It's complex equivalent. There's no, well, it might hit in here and it might, no, it's equal to. And yet I was doing those strategies and it wasn't working. And I
Mm.
watched other people go to the same programs, seminars, read the same books. We have conversation. We collaborated together and they were not getting the same. And this is the frustration. This was the yelling and screaming portion we talked about earlier, right? It's like, this is supposed to be working. And then, oh, I beat up on myself for a while because I must not be working. They're so confident and passionate, Ryan, that they were telling me that this is the way it is. You must be broken.
It wasn't a 5 a.m. routine, it was a 4 a.m. routine. You should have got up earlier.
You got to work harder.
Yeah.
Or you need to buy my next program because I'll show you the secrets of why that the
Yeah.
pump and dump, right?
Mm.
So I will tell you that frustration in my life has served me well as an ally because when I get really frustrated, then I seek alternatives.
Mm.
I don't let it get me down. I do not let it beat me. Okay, great. So one of the things we found out was because your behaviors creating these results, they are tied, that conveyor belt way over there, is they're tied to your belief systems and your value structure. Listen, if you have ever met a billionaire like I have, then you have to understand these folks are insane when it comes to the number of hours they're willing to do to make that money and have that power and everything else like this. I promise you, if you're listening to me, you probably are not that insane. And that's a good thing, I'm saying. But we all seem to want to pursue this result without understanding the work that it takes to get there. Because it's always seems like it seems so easy. I remember watching a gentleman for the very first time do this motorcycle jump on a dirt bike and do a backflip
Mm.
and did it in competition. I mean, my mouth dropped. I'd never seen it. It had never happened in recorded history as we know it. It was mind boggling. The place went crazy. The guy jumped off his bike. He was so excited. Do you know how many broken bones that guy has had? How many
Mm.
organs, how many surgeries? I know exactly who it was and how many that because he went through his story and all that work that would have caused most people to stop and have, he persevered through. He's
Mm.
insane. That's not normal. So a lot of those results we're after aren't really going to be in most people's wheelhouse unless you're willing to do the extraordinary to get there. The key to this whole conversation is that when you're doing something, a behavior, a strategy, if it is not congruent with your beliefs and values, the results are going to be lackluster at best. You can do the work all day long. So let me share with you a metaphor that really was powerful for me. Let's imagine that I'm holding a tuning fork, frequency. I'm
Mm.
holding a tuning fork and I've got three or four of them. I've got A tuning fork, B tuning fork, C. So the tuning forks are tuned to an A, a B, a C, and a D. If I take my hammer and I hit C, and I've got another four tuning forks sitting over there on the counter, if I hit C loud enough, I'm going to get that C tuning fork over there through vibrational energy
Yeah.
to sound. But I didn't hit that. I'm hitting this over here. What's preset, right? Okay, cool. So that's now I will tell you the strategies we're teaching to people is that if you're not getting that D over there to work, then hit C harder.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's I hooks, line, and sinker, man. I was hitting the crap out of it. I was working hard. I was doing this. It's never going to work. That's not how it actually works.
Yeah. How do you take clients of Samurai Success through that journey?
So this is why the Swords of Illumination, the Sophie group coaching program is why I'm so happy to have launched it, right? And getting it out there first month with a group of people. Now we've done this with multiple individuals over this past couple of years, but now the group coaching is really kicking in, really makes things affordable to people and it's cooperative. So we're all different sharing these different things and we're all having these shared experiences and people like looking across the table who've never met each other before. And they're like, you did that? I did that. I can't believe. And we're starting to see how this conveyor belt is so similar,
Mm.
if not almost exact, for us all. There
Mm.
is technology here, there is structure. And in that session with us each week that you meet for a year-long process. Oh my gosh, it's a year. Come on. You've been doing this stuff for 20, 30, 40 years and you can't dedicate a year of your life to doing that? Of course you can. It's just one of those things where you start having personal verified experiences of how powerful this technology is. And that's the work. So in that work, you're actually challenged, if you will, to be able to start taking a look and writing down your beliefs around things. Because let's just talk about this in this way. This belief that you have is so powerful that you will actually attract it. There's a bias called confirmation bias. I know you've heard this before, that if you believe in something, you'll actually attract. What is that? That's the attractor factor. When you just have a belief about something and don't do something with that, you're not going to attract it. It's like hitting A and expecting B over there to ring. It's not going to do it. There's this thing. If you're doing a whole bunch of things, but you don't believe in them, that's not going to ring that bell. It's just, I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how much passionate you are, how much, and you will exhaust yourself. And if you've already been there, then you know what I'm talking about. Now we can move on.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When you align your beliefs and values with your behaviors, that creates this frequency of coherence, congruency, consistency, coherence. And the coherence frequency is what is happening here, rings that over there. It tracks it to you.
Come on.
So you go from chasing stuff to attracting it to you. Now, answer this question for yourself. Which takes more energy? Why do you think people are doing this stuff are so damn happy? Is because they have energy to be happy. They're not exhausted from chasing the stuff, getting the results, and just exhausted from that whole journey. Wouldn't that be a shame if we really got to the desires we want in our life, but we're so exhausted before we can really enjoy them? Wait a minute. That's what we're doing as a generation going into retirement. We're so exhausted. Our health is gone. We can't travel. We can't do all these things. Yeah, we have this money, but what's it all worth? There's an opportunity to change it.
It reminds me of the parable of the Mexican fisherman. I don't know if you've ever heard the parable of the Mexican fisherman, but I'll paraphrase it very shortly. The Mexican and an American businessman, they're in a bar, and the American asks the Mexican, "What do you do?" And he says, "I spend most of my, I spend a little bit of my time fishing, get all that I need, and then I spend the time with my family on the beach watching the sun go down." The American goes, "Well, why don't you just, get a boat, spend a bit more time out there, then you can employ some people, you can probably buy a factory." The Mexican's like, "Why would I do that?" He says, "Because so that you can get some more time, spend it with your family and watch sun go down." He was like, ah, it isn't so much of that like here now attract that, but yeah, one of the really powerful things that Samurai Success do in the marketplace is that the business coaching is this is one third of it, and it's an incredibly powerful. I've had the wonderful opportunity to speak with a number of your clients around the transformation. Most business coaching on the market is generally the business side of things, the strategy side of things. But what you offer is the financial side of things as well, the clarity around numbers, the confidence that brings, the business structural, and this work.
Right.
And this work, which is almost for me, the visual I get is like this is the engine. This is like the cockpit. This is where the entrepreneur can go into the business, into the marketplace, and just play it at a whole new level, a different kind of a game. If you think about the attributes that we've talked about in this session today and the last 6 months, you think about that as a business owner. Cool. Why
Well
did
said.
you?
Get a chance to experience that with our coaching every day. And it's tough work. So let me be as honest as I can with you. It's tough work to go and take a look at yourself in the mirror and really dive in. But you're not doing it in front of anybody else. You're doing it in a sacred place, non-judgmental place. I will promise you that we judge you a lot less than you judge you. So just know you're coming into that special place to be able to really take a look at this, really examine your life, really see what is, really ask the tough questions and get some different perspective. That is so powerful to have that and accelerates things so remarkably. And just with a client today who used to have a business partner, and was focusing on multiple, what we call PPCs, potential profit centers, right? And we said, we came up with this radical idea with him, and he almost, smoked his brain. Was like, what do you mean? I don't want to focus on 10 things. I only want to focus on one. He's become more wealthy with the one thing he's focused on than 10 things has ever brought him. And he has more energy. His relationship with his wife and his kids and his family and his friends is so remarkable. People are coming to him, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, let me tell you. So that's where we're really going to get that referral kind of concept, because this stuff really does work. That's the
Yeah.
power. It isn't just
Results.
marketing. Yes.
We could track that back. Results, behavior, and then the beliefs and values, the changing beliefs and values from 10 to 1. What do you mean? That is a change in perspective, right? And then so goes down the conveyor belt. David, let's shake things up a bit. We normally ask you your top 3 tips, but today I'm going to ask you to set our watchers and our listeners some homework.
Hmm.
What homework would you like to set our watchers and listeners if they have really resonated with everything you said? What is the one thing you'd like them to go and do over the next few weeks?
So most of the time, if you're going to do something, you're going to be really agitated by it, right? Because that's pain is one of those great motivators. So take something that you're really struggling with in your life, but take one subject. So let's think about it physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, health, family, relationships slash friendships, financial or business. Just take those 10 categories and just pick one, please. And sit down. So let's take money, because it's one of the things that most people come to us about because they're confused about how that thing works.
Yep.
Take a moment and write down a paragraph about what you really believe about money. There's no one looking. That's the first part. You've got to be brutally honest with yourself, because that brutal honesty will actually illuminate your subconscious programming, which is your thermostat. That thermostat. So as you're writing this down, I want you to imagine that's the software that unconsciously is being the attractor factor for you and money. If that's the area that you want to be able to deal with, it doesn't matter what area it is, this will work in every single one of those areas. But right now, if you're struggling in one of those areas, there's software and hardware called programming that is actually creating those situations for you. If you can identify them through writing this process out, be brutally honest with yourself about this, you can then become aware of that. That's the first step. Awareness, first level of change. And then go, I can see how that is actually creating that. And I don't like that. And do your own self-analysis, because that's what we're going to do here, right? We're actually going to take you through that journey in a little deeper response to this, right? We're going to really ask some interesting questions that you hadn't thought of before and really test you. Did you just really say that? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. So I'm writing this down. I don't like the results. And then here it is, dramatic roll, simplicity. Take what you've written down and rewrite its opposite. Just do that. Just start there. I think money is the root of all evil. I do this, but over here, I can see joy in having money. I can see how I can help more people if I have more things, because money is just energy. And changing your meaning, superpower, changing your meaning is changing that software. Now, that's not enough. Granted, you've got to start here though. Once you have that new belief system, you've got to go demonstrate that. You've got to go do the work that supports that new belief system. And that's where you're going to have something really powerful happen in your life called a personal verified experience. And in that personal verified experience, between the believing and the doing, you're going to get a very different result. You now know what's creating that result. It's this thing you just wrote down. Hey, I didn't really like that result. Okay, guess what? I now have the process of being able to make that shift and change.
I could do a Joe Rogan length episode with you every time we speak, but it would be super conscious and respectful of our community's time. Before I introduce the next month's topic, is there anything on your notes, anything on your side of the camera, David, that you really want to share with our community that maybe I've not made space for?
I can tell you there was a time in my life where if I'd heard what I'm saying to you, I would have gone, BS, bullshit, right? And sorry for my language, but
Yeah,
I would have. I will tell you absolutely. I get it.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I'd really gone further down the path than I had, my skepticism would have overpowered me and I would have absolutely moved into the dark side. I know this. I know where I was going, and it scared me to death because I know what I can do in the dark side. I know it. I don't have to think about it. I've experienced some of it. I do not want to be like that. That does not represent who I am. Want to do something different. When I go back in front of the Father, I want to express and explain something very different than that avenue was taking me. So I get where you potentially could. Like, I've heard all this before, Dave, or maybe I haven't heard it this way, but I've been told all these promises before and all this stuff. And I'm just sick and tired of people telling me the stuff that doesn't work. Do yourself a favor. Listen to this internal master inside of you. See if this information resonates with you. If it doesn't, hey, wish you the best. Thank you for your service to this planet. Seriously. If it does resonate just a little bit, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation about this, because podcasts are great. I give it, but it's like watching a videotape. And because you're going to walk away from this and you're going to be like, wow, that was so entertaining. I really liked what he said about that. And, oh, did I leave the toaster on? Is the oven still on? I got to go do some ironing. and then it's gone. And 10 years of your life goes by you. Take this moment, pick up the phone, sit down at your keyboard, reach out to us, and see if we can help you make a difference.
All the information you need to contact us will be in the show notes. Next month, we will be back. We will be talking about how to resource your business solutions for greater impact. A topic close to your heart, David. I'm sure that it's going to be another great conversation. And until next time, Samurai Success community, thank you for making it to the very end. Please do like, please do subscribe, please do share this with someone who you know will resonate with this information. And we'll see you again next time. David, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ryan. Good to see you.